Wow. Krista, Sarah, let's start right over here.
Oh, and you're working with her.
Hi, I'm Tara. I actually have a message from Commitment Rules.
Oh, yes.
She would like to tell you we were doing a fundraiser for your birthday for C9. And we actually made our $5,000 goal 2 days ago.
Wow.
And we've actually exceeded it. And she sent them a message this morning telling them that we would like to make the budget.
Wow.
So she wanted to tell you happy birthday and that we were doing this for you and that they're still collecting money, so we're way over the $5,000.
Well, listen, to me, there's nothing better to that, you know, to have this possibility for all of us to be in touch and then for somebody to have an idea like that and then to give back in a certain way. So any time I have anything to do with that, even just through association, I'm really grateful, and you know, I got to thank her personally. Because I saw it tagged the other day and I was thinking about reaching out to her and thanking her. So that's great.
And then I actually do have a question.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so when you do your lovely 80s carpool karaoke, when you're singing in your car, do those come like organically, or do you just hear a song and you're like, I have to record this now?
Well, I mean, they don't come that organically. Because they let me drive that car, and so I have to post about it.
Oh my gosh.
When I'm in LA, I don't have a car. You know, I don't live in LA, and I've never owned a car. I started to drive very late. You know, and so it came from that, obviously. I mean, but then I just sort of thought, you know what, like, this is what I do by myself when I'm driving anyways. That's what happens, and so I might as well just share it with the world, I guess. So it's usually about what song comes on when motivation comes. There's many videos I've made that didn't make the cut, and I never do it while I drive. That's definitely not something I want to do. So, but I don't know. I don't know if they will.
So I was watching the director's commentary of Infinity Wars, and during the round panel, the directors were discussing why Spider-Man held on for so long. And they basically said that he used all of his super strength to hang on as long as he did. So my question for you is, why do you think Bucky went first?
Comparison.
I thought, hold on a minute. When you were saying he held on for so long, I thought it was like about something entirely different. You mean the dust thing?
I'm talking about the snap.
Okay, you know what? That's not even, and that's what they said? That was the answer?
Yeah, I thought it
I
was
don't buy
kind of
that
weird
answer.
too.
That's called, you know, like, save the best for last or whatever. It's not, you know, I don't know why I went first. I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea, because like I said, I found out that was happening to me on the day that we shot it. So I didn't really know what was happening, but I was certainly happy I wasn't the only one.
There were audible screams in the theater.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, you know, but I remember that was a very sad day for sure. It was a weird day. So we didn't know what that meant, you know. And I don't think we still do. You know? But I'm glad that Tom Holland also went. Thank God. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, come on.
I'm a 7th grade English teacher, and a lot of my students have lost like their buy-in on reading and writing. You can answer one or both parts of this question.
your students, can you repeat that first part? Your students have lost
The buy-in, like they don't see why it's important.
the buy-in into reading and writing.
Oh.
Oh, God. That really freaks me out. I don't know about anybody else. That makes me so terrified. Why is it important? Because, first of all, I think there's nothing like that. There's nothing in you that uses your imagination more than reading. Like, you could see any story, you could go to a movie and you see the actor and you see this, or anything you see, whatever. You have someone handing you a story. When you're reading a story, it's much more personal to you and to you alone. Like, nobody else can whatever, when you're reading, like the images and the things that come to you, like, is so personal to you. Like, it's in it, whatever, like, it's all your imagination, and the only way you're gonna really supplement that is if you're using it the right way, and that's how it happens through reading and writing. The thing about writing is, like, I feel that there's things, if you have questions about yourself and like what you want, what you like, or what you're afraid of, if you really want to, like, if you really want to have balls and like face yourself, then you should write. Because even if it's just, here I am and I hate fucking writing and this is what I'm doing, but I'm gonna take the next 15 minutes and I'm just gonna keep writing and just see what comes. Oh, I feel that, and I think that, and I think that. And anyway, there's something there that like happens that's very important, and I don't know how else to say it, and I can go on and on and on forever, but it's really, that's very scary. We have to protect that. I don't know. It's hard. Well, that one, we went south quick.
Your favorite book? She asked your favorite book.
My favorite book? Is that what you said? No.
Yeah, she'd ask us the other part.
Oh, I like, I really like this book called Still Life of the Woodpecker. I also like this book called The Ballad of the Whiskey Robber, which I've been trying to make a movie of in some way. It's got a whole thing with it. But those books are written really, like, if you like, the guy who wrote Fight Club and all that stuff, I mean, it has like a very particular voice. I mean, Catcher in the Rye is also a great book. It has like a very specific voice to it. That book Sapiens, nonfiction wise, is a great book. I mean, there's a ton. I know. It's like, see, this is why they don't want to read, because it just got so boring. So slow and boring.
I just want to say first off, thanks for giving us this opportunity to come down here. I was supposed to be in Chicago, so I came,
Then that's good. It worked out.
it did. Found out Friday, and what advice would you give to people who have anxiety attacks?
Anxiety attacks. I mean, look, first I would say, like, everybody has anxiety. I mean, there's just, if you don't have anxiety, you're not human. I mean, it's just, and the other thing is this, you have to start understanding that if you're an anxious person, it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just that, it just means you're sensitive. And it's really actually kind of great to be sensitive. You just have to like learn a little bit more on how to like deal with it. So the first thing I would do is just kind of turn my mind around and not think that it's bad or that there's something wrong with it. It just means that you're feeling something and it's gonna pass like anything else, It's like the clouds in the sky. I mean, they block the sun, but the sun is still there. So it's just gonna pass eventually. So when it happens, I would, know that like this is okay. This is just part of the deal. Everything's about breathing. I mean, sometimes you get anxious because you're not breathing right. Like you're not like breathing into your stomach or so the other thing I would do is just kind of like slow down your breath and just kind of like take long, big breaths and feel your feet on the ground. Feel like what you're touching, whatever you're touching. If you're focusing on something, like just slow everything down. It's all about just being in the moment, And the reason we get anxious a lot now is because it's the whole phone thing. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's actually, you're actually just more sensitive to the world, which is a beautiful thing. Like once you figure out like how to use that, it's gonna be okay. Listen, this late in the day, it's gonna be like this. I think that's how it is for me.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm totally, full disclosure, I'm totally at work today. So.
Oh, good.
But I'm filming it, so everyone's gonna know soon.
Oh, good. Where's work for you?
So I work for a petrochemicals company called Sabic, and I'm an attorney. And I postponed a negotiation because I had a meeting, so
Yes.
you and I are in a meeting together.
Yes.
So as a lawyer, I always have to look at things in many different directions. And I know as an actor, you probably see something one way and the director sees something another way, and maybe other actors in a scene. Are you one to challenge after takes, how maybe something played out and try to do something your way, or are you more kind of director focused?
My goal and my instinct always is like when I start working on something is to honor the director, because he's in charge.
Yeah.
It's his vision. So, but if I've agreed and I'm on set with him at that point, then I've already made that agreement that now I'm here because I believe in your vision, I believe what you want to do, I believe in you, and I got to follow you. But, it took me a long time to realize that. Because what I've learned is that when there's a director that doesn't necessarily know what they do, or they're not specific, or they are kind of lost, or they're not seeing something the way you're seeing it, then I start being the opposite, the other way you just said. Where then I go, well then I'm taking over. Not like I'm directing it. I just mean I become more protective of like what I'm doing, and it's not usually what I like. Like I would rather be with someone where I can trust and I can go, okay, cool. Like you got this, and I'm gonna. But it's a director's meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I would just like to say, like, personally, I have anxiety and I have panic disorder and other shit, and just like please, like when you said that, I was like, can I have her number? No, but I personally, I use writing as something like it's very therapeutic for me, because whenever I get very anxious, it's hard for me to speak. It's hard for me to get my words across. So I kind of appreciate that you definitely talk about writing in ways like that, because it definitely helps me. But I just had to say that because like my anxiety is really bad right now. But my question is, I was told that you might have answered this earlier this morning, but I wasn't here. So they mentioned that the reason you couldn't come to September was because you were working on 3 filming projects, and I was wondering if you could tell us about those, if maybe you'd been doing a little training.
Well, first of all, the thing about the writing, which I wanted, because you remind me of like, and I can guarantee you this works. Like, I've tested it and it just works, and I believe, like, I honestly feel like we can all do this if we really want to, But if you want something, you should. Like, that's how I usually do it. If I want something, I write it down. Like, I'm writing it down. This is what I want, and not just like I want pizza today. Like, I'm saying, like, what do you want in 3 years? What do you want next week? And if it could be crazy, whatever. But write it down, and then write specifically like around it. Like, let's say I want to work with Scorsese one day, like, I don't know, like, I'll write that, and then I'll go, oh, but I'll be playing, maybe it'll be a movie about this subject, and then you know, I could be on set with him and he might say this to me, and you know, I'm wearing this coat. Like I'm saying, like you can write the thing, and the more specific you are with it, I'm telling you, like I think you're putting it out in the world, and it will come back to you, you know. But so anyway, that's another reason why I think it's good to do that. But
I would like to say that with what you said, you did a fantastic job of expressing your words without any hesitation or fear. Good for you.
Thank you.
That's really
I've been
very
working
nice.
on it like a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Really.
yeah. I mean, it just happens anxiety sometimes. You know, like I always used to think like it was something is wrong. I mean, it's just, you know, it's like that. If you read that book, Sapiens, I mean, that's what it talks about. It's like, you know, where we come from, where we used to be, you know, like there's a part of you that's still an animal in the back of your head, and it just gets triggered and starts to think that something's wrong when there isn't. You know, I mean, sometimes I could sit in my apartment and I would have gotten 8 hours of sleep for 3 nights in a row, and I've done, you know, exercise, and I've eaten well, and I've done nothing, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, oh, I'm having heart palpitations. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know, but like, why?
Yeah.
You know,
I've
but
had heart palpitations for the last 6 days.
I know. It just you know, it's like so many things. So don't overthink it. What you were saying?
The movies.
The
They
movies.
had mentioned.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's one in Greece that's happening over 2 periods of time. It's the first part of it is going to be, you know, it's leaving August 11th, and it's going to go all the way through October 10th, and then it picks back up in November until December, and there's a month break in between, and in that month break, there's another movie in LA that I'm going to quickly squeeze in, which I would love to talk about because I really like this director, but it's a little like. It still needs all to be worked out time-wise, so I can't really say it yet. And then we got to do some, you know, then I might have to go somewhere else.
What about like genre?
And then I got to go to Toronto for the film
yeah,
festival, which I'm really excited about, for the Destroyer movie, and that's coming out Christmas Day, I think. I'm really excited about that. But genre-wise, they're both movies about relationships and people, and it's not something I've gotten to do yet. And you know, they're both very, very heavy on improv. I mean, there's a script for each of them, but it's very improvisational, and it's going to give me a lot of. It's going to be scary as hell because, you know, I've never really done that. So, but there are stories that are very realistic about, you know, people and what relationships really are like, you know. And I feel like we don't usually get a lot of movies that do that good of a job. And you know, you want to know another one of my favorite books that just came to me, The Course of Love.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Elaine Dibouton. That's a good book. I'm actually rereading that book right now for this movie. So.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for coming. I've always taken for my birthday for next month, so I'm very glad that you make this possible. This is my first time meeting someone famous, so
Oh, man.
and meeting you is the best thing because I think you are one of the best actors and one of the best people in the world. You're so sweet and so kind. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. On the photo, I noticed something in your hands.
My hands?
In your hands, yeah, something like scratch or something.
Oh, it looks like you've been
cut
like.
on your
Oh
hand.
yeah,
looks like
this
you
is for
beat
my
somebody
fight
else.
class. No, I know. I wish I could tell you it was just this long late night last
Some
night
Bucky
in
training.
Houston.
Okay, so the second question is that you worked with Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, and she was acting and producing at the same time. You think that in the future you can produce or direct or make the script for a movie? You want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt. Like, I feel like I've already. This last year was a real learning lesson for me in terms of producing, and even though I never actually, I felt like I was much more involved in the projects that I was working on, and I really learned a lot about, you know, the process. And what producing is just developing something. You know, I mean, it's, you know, I can't say this is what it is, but what I've noticed, you know, in people that I've liked is that you can fall in love with a project and you want to just see it happen, and you're going to try and make that happen, whether it's raising money or putting the right people together or making the phone calls. And, you know, it's a whole lot of work in a different way that I've ever been used to, but I've gotten a fair share of that, and obviously watching Margot and her company firsthand was a great example for me, because I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, she found this project and felt passionately about it, and got the right people together and set it up the way that she wanted, and, you know, look how far it went. And so it was very inspiring watching her, for sure.
And you're setting that with 1 Minute Man, right?
Say that again?
You're setting that with 1 Minute Man.
1 Minute Man.
Yeah.
Well, 1 minute, no, 1 Minute Man, like, is just, you know, me, like, having fun with an iPhone. But, like, sure, it made me go, like, both of us at the end, like, we had a great, you know, somebody actually wrote to us about this new idea. We sat there and I was like, well, why don't we just get a camera then? And then it starts becoming a thing. And then we were like, oh, like, we were having a hard time filming the last one because we were like, we can't have any shots of both of us in it because we're both shooting. Like, we're gonna have to get a third person to shoot both of us. So, you know, that thing's, and also now they just said that you can do an hour on Instagram. You can do an hour, right?
Wow. The people were talking that you want to make a Bucky movie on Instagram.
I'll make a Bucky movie.
Do it.
We might have to call him Brett. But we'll all know who it is. Just kidding. Oh, God.
Hi, I am a pediatric nurse, and I take care of a kid, actually in his house, because I'm visiting the hospital. But he's on a ventilator and feeding tubes and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously, things need to be done. Anyway, I was at work last night. He loves all the Marvel movies and stuff like that, and so I told him I was coming to meet you today. And so he was all jealous. But if you could do me a favor and just say hi, Jeffrey, he would get a real big kick out of it.
Hi, Jeffrey. Wish you were here, man. Just hopefully something brings us together soon. We can meet.
Thank you so much. You will love it.
No. Okay. It's in your bag. I don't want to go into your bag.
No, you go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kristen. My question is, so actually, I acted in high school, sorry my voice, and we did a couple like challenging roles, and I was wondering how to prepare for your role in I, Tonya, if there was like a routine that you need to like get in that mindset.
Well, you know, like anytime you have a real person, like you don't have a lot of freedom, you know, you just have to try to kind of like get us, you know, I mean, fortunately I had 3 hours of audio of him that I was listening to over and over again all the time, thinking about that sound. And then there was some footage that I could find, and I was just watching that on repeat over and over again. But it just varies. It just depends, you know. I think, you know, just you should get that book, Acting 2.0. I'm telling you, it just spells it out so clearly, like kind of what the deal is. Yeah. Just got to be truthful, you know, as best as possible. I mean, there's so many times where I feel like I can see in movies I've worked on where I know there's a scene and I go, oh God, that looks so fake to me, you know. And then people think differently. So, you know.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're going to ask another question or two, and then let's take some selfies with Sebastian.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I love those sunglasses.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Hey.
First, I want to thank you for rescheduling. I think that's awesome. And thank you to everyone who put it together so quickly. I think that's great.
No, it's good.
And then my question, piggybacking off of Kristen's, is what did you learn from your role in I, Tonya? Or if you learned anything?
I think I learned a lot from that movie. I mean, as an actor, I learned a lot for sure. Like that movie kind of changed. It actually made my life more difficult, but in a good way. You know, I've been very lucky. There's a lot of things that were sent to me, you know, since that movie. But I've been very. It was such a. What that movie taught me as an actor, like, was that it can't. If you have the right pieces, like if there's a right script, if it's a right director, if it's the right group of people, the producers, the actors, like everybody, the right group, you're gonna shine. Like you're gonna, the fulfillment will be so much greater, so much bigger, and you'll want to commit so much more, and and so now that I've had that, it's like Pandora's box is open. Now I'm just gonna look for that, and I'm gonna wait until I find that. You know, I'm not, because I know, like, oh, you know, I can understand things so much more deeply, or you know, and then
Did you need a glass of water?
no, thanks. and then I was like, we were telling a story that was important to tell, and it was you know, and then I was like, oh, like I'm not just doing this for whatever. Like nobody got paid on the movie. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything. It was just more like, you know, that there's something being, so there's another fulfillment that's happening in a different level. So, and then it let me go and like, you know, I'd like to just be a part of good stories where hopefully, you know, there's a message there, and at the same time you're doing the best you can with people who are great. So, you know,
Hi, Sebastian. Since we're in Space City, Houston, I wanted to ask you about some space movies. But instead of Star Wars, I wanted to ask you about Star Trek. And I know they're doing a next Star Trek movie soon.
Is that the Patrick Stewart?
No, no,
Yes.
no.
Or is
I'm
he?
talking about the Chris Pine franchise. The one,
Oh, the Chris Pine,
they're doing
yeah.
another one, the fourth one soon. So I was wondering if you're interested in that. Joining
Well, I
Star
went
Trek.
out for that back in the day. I just didn't get it. Yeah, but sure. I mean, you know, I can't say no until you've seen something or read something. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I love that Benedict Cumberbatch role. That was great.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sebastian.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Jenny. This is my wife, Sarah. Thank you again for coming in. For positive anxiety issues, it's really, really important that we talk about that. I can deal with that. I was wondering, do you collect anything? Do you collect anything?
Do I collect anything? You know, I end up collecting like books. I mean, this is the problem. If I go into a bookstore, I end up seeing 4 or 5 things, and I'm like, oh, I got to get that. And then I'm like, I know I already have to go through all these other things. That's kind of the thing that I fall into. You know, but that's about it. You know, I never got much into collecting. I don't know. I don't want to be like too dependent on things. You know, I moved a lot. Like even in New York, I moved apartments almost like every 2-3 years. And one of the best things I ever had to do was just like throw things out, like start over, you know? And so, I don't know. I'm always in between that.
Hi. I was going to ask, do you have ambitions for any roles behind the camera, like directing or screenwriting? And if so, like, do you like original material, or would you want to like bring a story you already love to life?
There's both. Both of those things have been doing and kind of like started doing much more in the last year or so. And you know, I'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm just gonna keep going and see what happens. I found a story that is a true story that I really like, and I'm gonna try to get that off the ground. You know, and then there's other things that like I've kind of like written and stuff, but I'm just learning, so it's still early, I guess, with that.
Best of luck. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, hopefully. You know.
Hi. So, if the Infinity Stones were real, how would you use in your life the time, power, and reality stones?
Time, power, reality. I mean, listen, that's not an easy question. Oh God. It's time, power, and reality. What is reality? Do we need any more reality? No. I think we have enough. We can alter the reality. Okay.
This is reality. We're going to start some self.
No, we are, but I'm going to answer this question.
Okay, you answer. You're the boss. Who's going to take pictures first?
God. I mean, I'm just trying to think about where else I would go back in time than you know, fall of 2016 and all to the reality that we're in right now.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think what else I could possibly go back to, you know. But that's the first thing that comes to mind. Go back in time to then and alter that reality. That would kind of. I'm like, we've been in Biff's future. That's what I keep thinking. Back to the future. Yeah. And I'm like, we gotta get back in time. Yeah, that would be a good start. All right. Thank you. Hey, I have a question for you guys. What's three? This will help me. What's 3 shows you watch right now that you love?
Sherlock. Wait, like TV shows.
TV shows like right now.
Like on Netflix.
Outlander.
Sherlock.
Penny Dreadful.
That's a good
Okay.
one. Shameless. Please watch Shameless.
Supergirl. Taboo with Tom Hardy.
Taboo with Tom
That's
Hardy.
a good one.
Okay.
Produced it. He wrote it.
All right. Okay. All right.
Didn't they like remake the
I just wanna
Robinsons?
know what's happening, because that might help me be in one of those shows. I don't know. Thank you. This is my associate producer. All right, so are we doing selfies? Okay.
I may say less.